FOLIGAR Lang, National President of the Cameroon Reformation Party, CRP. Thank you for accepting to talk to us.
Thank you very much, and you are welcome.
Let's begin by having your perspective, your understanding of the policy speech of the President of the Republic, Paul Biya.
I watched through the inauguration. I've listened over the week after the elections, and we have been monitoring this and observing it critically to see what will come up at the end of the inauguration and the positive stance that the President will have on behalf of the people of Cameroon. But I cannot tell you, unfortunately, we haven't got anything very positive that a grassroots person, a child, a woman, or even somebody having some disadvantage in life, wishing that a new regime has been sworn in today, but we haven't got them in the package of the President. But it was a lengthy speech. It was a nice speech about the country on his own way of thinking. But unfortunately, we at the Cameroon Reformation Party has not heard anything very, very reverberating on behalf of an average Cameroonian.
He talked about young people. He talked about creation of jobs for young people, financing of projects by local banks, international development partners.
Yeah.
And he also talked about the security issues in the northwest and southwest regions of the country and the far north, of course. Do you think that what he said about young people was good enough, was concrete, was something on which the young people can hope on?
It wasn't sufficient enough. Saying it is one thing, but doing it is another. So he said it, but can he do it all for the 2 years? And now he got another 7 years, which means that 50 years in power. Can he actually do what he is promising? Promising is one thing, action is another. We haven't got the parameters that he has listed exactly what he will take to do what he has said. If you're talking about security, what are the motives that he wants to change from the previous years of 42? So that is not much about us, but we are so worried when lengthy speeches are being given, but modalities on how the success of these promises will take place has not been given. So unfortunately, we have not seen the parameters for security, national security. We have not seen the parameters for how he will create the jobs. The country has got lots of opportunities. Job creation here is the most easiest thing that they can do. I come from the United Kingdom and I come into this country every month or every time, forth and back, because I love the country. And I try to do so many good things. Job creation, training, CV writing, motivation, just to write CV resumes, telling our people to select the right courses. Those are things that we want to hear from an innovative government. But the government has lots in their package to talk about, but no parameters to put these achievements for our kids, for our young children that are growing up. Being role models to these children, just imagine, just being a role model to young Cameroonians that they want to follow the head of state's footsteps. Can you imagine? But it doesn't happen. I am not against the head of state. I'm a political party leader with the right to speak wherever there is an error, and the right for them to learn from us whenever they make errors. We cannot be culprits because we're sharing ideas with the government. If they win the elections, it means that we have the right to speak where they make mistakes. And I am speaking on the grounds of where this leader who have just won the presidential election is giving promises, but the parameters of this is not inclusive. Just imagine the country is so ramshackle, cleaning up this country, just tidying it up. Do you know how much business the tourist industry will bring to Cameroon? Huge amounts of money. We in the Cameroon Reformation Party expect at least 4,000 Cameroonians just pushing into the tourist business. The airports are empty. Why can he not just create restaurants, bars, hotels just around the airport, 2 international airports in Cameroon? Then this will flow into jobs. Why are they greedy? Just to create jobs. It's easy.
No, are you saying that there is no hope for the young people in this country? What the President of the Republic said?
I can guarantee you now that FOLIGAR Lang, the leader of the Cameroon Reformation Party, is saying that these are information that has always been passed from 1982, year in, year out, in speeches, and that anybody who is in Cameroon who listens to the head of state and even any other minister, these are the same old things that we've been listening. But we don't hate them. We want to support them. They want to do it, but maybe they don't know how to do it. And that's where what I wanted to talk about, an inclusive regime, will come to play, so that people with experience will come in and support them if they actually want to do it. But at the moment, young Cameroonians are not being able to deduce their success in this speech.
You know, about the security problems in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, once more, he called on those who are civilians who are still carrying guns, fighting to create an independent state, to create an Amazonian state, to drop their guns. And he said that those who will not do so, those who will not receive the holy branch of the head of state, of the government, will face a very unpleasant consequences. In other words, military action will continue on the ground, tracking and killing of separatist fighters will continue on the ground. When you hear this, do you see in what the President of the Republic said in the National Assembly the intention to solve the problem?
I'm not seeing peace flowing to Cameroonians in any dynamics. With the speech, which we have just won the election, they have just won the elections. We needed a page to change. We needed remorse. We needed love. We needed inclusion. We needed lots of things. And remember that peace cannot be imposed on the people. Peace is implemented. You implement peace through policies, inclusion, lovely things, job creation, and then looking into where the trouble started, just the ground root of the problem, will bring about a lasting solution. What started it? When did it start? How did it start? And what can I do as the president of the country? Can you imagine the president who has the right of everything, bringing everybody together and sharing the love deep in his heart? Can he not stop the war? Is it just threatening the people that can stop the war? Like we will come back and do anything? Or can we not say, you are my children, you are my boys. If you like jobs, we can give you jobs. And the time is getting late for you because you've been doing this since 2017. I am the president. I've just won the election. And I regret that these things are happening within us because we love you so much. So drop your arms, come to me, let's sit somewhere and talk about them. We tried for a national dialogue, it never worked. So what proposals have we got? Look at the Cameroon Reformation Party now. This party has created a Secretary of State in a shadow cabinet that we created far back before the elections of the presidential elections in Cameroon. We created a shadow cabinet including a Secretary of State for Southern Cameroon crisis. Just imagine that. Meaning that we're giving no time frame. We're giving the shortest minimum lightning speed solution. Lightning speed. That as soon as we take power, our primary thing is to unite this country, south, east, west, and center, and all of it. Bringing everybody together and the north. Then given that there is a minister where the grievances of Southern Cameroonians could be liaised directly with him and bringing about a lasting solution within lightning speed, which means that as short as possible. So it's a temporary ministry. These are things we want the head of state, who is so proud to have won the elections in 2025, to say out loudly to Cameroonians, giving them love, giving them inclusion, listening to their problems, and then talking nice with them, and even giving them a chance for dialogue. So this is very unsatisfactory, and it's disgraceful, I can tell you now. It's shameful, additionally. I'm very much worried about the future of this country. This is a country, you can look at me, I love it so much, I love the people. And I wish that they should understand that these people love them as much as possible. The most peaceful human beings in the planet are found in Cameroon. The most patient people, they want to be patient. They want to be even more than dogs that are patient to eat the biggest bones or the fattest bones. Cameroonians are more than patient like them. They don't want any trouble in their life. But why would they give them, they be doing troubleshooting to their people, giving them loud grievances, provoking them, insulting, molestation, torturing, and then wanting them to be in peace? So peace can only be gotten in a nation like Cameroon, where the people are the best human beings in the planet, where maybe I say God just selected them to be so much peaceful, and then you provoking them. These are loving people. Let the head of state, Paul Biya, who have just been inaugurated today as I'm speaking, to withdraw his statements, call the people of Cameroon to attention, make an inclusive government, with all the 12 political party leaders, and even someone like myself needs to be included, the Department of Government Transparency, that will further the future of these people.
Well, you tell us more about that. But first, tell us, what did you expect the President of the Republic to say about the security crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, which he did not? What did you expect him to say about the situation?
I expected, as a leader, to call an attention and say, we have been watching you struggle, and you declare yourself that you want to get an independent southern Cameroon. We love to be one nation, and we'll be stronger to be one nation. English and French are two powerful world languages internationally in the whole world, and we fall to be lucky enough to have those two, that we can conquer far and near. We can bring governments to their knees in our country, and we want to be in love and kindness together for a Cameroon that is very capable to look after themselves. Together we will do it. And to this regard, I apologize that during this period you've been struggling, I never took you guys very serious, but I think that if there are some mistakes made between ourselves and yourselves, we want you to drop your arms. And while you're dropping your arms, we will call you to have a department where you will raise your problems to them and your grievances. Those abroad and those at home, you are all invited to liaise with so department, and so we can move ahead. I will be very much appreciated and proud of you that you've tried your best, but unfortunately you had a short vision, because Cameroon is very strong when it is together. And I am your head of state, Paul Biya. That's the type of words I wanted to hear from him.
You wanted him to apologize, like Issa Chuma Bakari went to Bamenda and apologized to the people that he was wrong when he said there was no reform price. You wanted the head of state to apologize?
It's not like apologizing, it's ignorance. I wanted him to prove whether his ignorance of what was happening. He doesn't know the story that much. He took decisions radically at some point. He wanted to watch his children do something, whether it is right or wrong. There are so many options of it. It is not a matter of apology, but there are options for him to carefully look around what really went wrong and give them the chance for peace.
The Constitutional Council declared him winner of the October 12, 2025 presidential election with a little above 53% of the vote. But Issa Chuma Bakari has continued saying that he won the election, and he is saying that on the basis of the return reports that he received from the different polling stations, and after summing up the figures, he is saying that he won the presidential election. However, Olbia has been sworn in. He is now the head of state, and he is embarking on an 8th term of office after more than 4 decades of leadership, a leadership qualified by critics, observers, civil society leaders as catastrophic, looking at the poor and deplorable and even precarious socio-economic situation of the country, socio-economic situation of many Cameroonians today who are living below the poverty line, unable to afford 3 square meals a day. And now, the protests that erupted after the proclamation of the official results. What's your analysis of all of this?
I've argued many times for Cameroon, and I'm sorry for them. They have no power transition policy. This country is one of the countries in the world with no transition policy of power. We don't know. We are political party leaders. We've never seen power transit from one person to another in this country. So that is why you see they are doing what they are doing, because no political party leader has ever requested either power transition policy should be given to all Cameroonians, should be explained to all Cameroonians during elections, that should another person win except Paul Biya or Ahijo, what do we do? Where is our secret service? Where is our security officers during that period? I'm a candidate for presidential election, for example. Where do I fall with them? Should I travel out of the country during that period? Should I stay at home? Who is staying with me at home? Who watches me what I do? What if I win the election? Who is going to take me to it today? What will they do? Where is the ceremony? How is it going to be? Nobody knows. Has it ever happened in this country? So we are a country in a level of dumbfounded minds. We don't search ahead. We don't push ahead to see what entails to us. Cameroon is one of the countries that have never practiced power transition in Africa, and even in the world at large. where power transits from one person to another. The transition policy of power has never been explained to any political party leader, and unfortunately they participate. So that's why I fall short when I explain this type of questions, because I know that we don't have power transition policy that has ever been practiced. We might have made a document. We've never seen an evidence of it. During presidential elections,
they moved from Aiju to FOLIGAR based on the constitutional requirements. At the time, the Prime Minister was the constitutional.
When you talk about the Cameroon Constitution, it's a piece of book that somebody sleeps with on the bed. It's a piece of document somebody sleeps with on the bed. Yeah? You don't know that. You need to know a document where somebody lies with it on the bed and decide what to do with it at any time. And change it when they want. And influence it when they want. And impose it when they want. And even push into it as much as possible at the detriment of loving people. People, the most good people in the planet, who doesn't want any trouble in the world. That is a document. Somebody lie instead of cuddling their wives. They cuddle the Constitution. Are you hearing that from me? I think most people know it. That this is the only country in the world they cuddle the Constitution in the bed instead of cuddling their wives. So when you talk about Constitution in Cameroon, that's why we are Cameroon Reformation Party. We want to start from where this country started before Christ and we mold it into a divine place where there's a vision, a mission, and imagination. So the leader of this country can see far ahead and protect his people before anything arises. When COVID was bringing out, even before it dreamt in Wuhan, young boys and young people, even ministers in the UK, US, Sweden, Norway, Germany, the rest, Japan, countries that care about their children, were already procrastinating that something is smelling in the air. People should take care. And that was about 2-3 months before COVID even came. How do you talk about that? Those are people with a vision. Those are people with love. Those are people with imagination.
No, when you talk to...
So now we're talking about power transition. We're talking about the Constitution. The Constitution, people sleeping in bed, is never going to be in a country where there's love, there's imagination, there's a vision. It's going to be in a country where things are stagnant. And that stomach feeling is one thing. And pushing the people is another. Remember, people do jobs in this country, even ministers don't have job descriptions. You have ministers that do the work of prime minister. You are a government minister, a state minister does the job of a prime minister, does the job of a governor, does the job of a GU, does the job of a commander of police, does the job of General Marie, does the job of army. One person. They are doing those type of jobs. One person. Do they give them job descriptions? So when we boil down to Cameroon, there's a lot. We can talk these things even till tomorrow. And this media will feel bored because there are lots and lots and lots of analysis that I can unfold for these people in Cameroon. But I am not against the president of Cameroon. I am not against the government of Cameroon. I am only that I have to give my opinion as a political party leader.
By separatist fighters. The National Post reports the killing of 4 gendarme officers by separatist fighters in Touba in the Mezam division in the crisis-stricken northwest region of Cameroon. And it is within this context that Cameroon Insider tells its readers that after election victory, Paul Biya begins a new term. A new term, according to the Post, amid turmoil. And the Voice goes further to say Biya begins his 8th term at the helm of the state in uncertainty. The paper highlights what it qualifies as titan, so delivered Biya's victory in the southwest. And the Guardian Post reports that President Paul Biya begins his 8th term of office with more empty promises. Daily Voice, captured, freed, protected. According to the paper, the night of November 2nd was supposed to mark the end of Issa Chiruma Bakari's desperate flight. Abducted from a quiet residence in Yola by the Nigerian security forces, the stage was set for a swift Naratan-style extradition back to Cameroon, where authorities branded him a dangerous criminal. But in a stunning twist that defied all expectations, Nigeria halted the handover, placing Chiruma not in a Cameroonian prison, but under its own protective wing. And above that, Municipal Updates puts forth the question, alleged escape of Chiroma to Nigeria, masterstroke or mishap. Another issue of the Guardian Post report that about the October 12 poll, Senior Associate for African Regional Director of the National Democratic Institute for International Affairs, NDI, Dr. Christopher Formion, has slammed what is qualified as an archaic and manipulative electoral system, insisting peace, reconciliation calls without verifiable evidence of results won't change widespread perception of rigging. The Horizon 12 October presidential poll, Obasanjo did not advise Biya. The paper debunks allegations that former Nigerian President Obasanjo had advised President Paul Biya to step aside and give change a chance. Meantime, it is said within the lines of Cameroon Tribune that President Paul Biya is starting the 8th term on good footing after telling Cameroonians that the country is a shared heritage.
When you talk to many Cameroonians, they feel that they have been betrayed by their political leaders, by the elite.
Yeah.
And this is because since the candidate of the Cameroon National Salvation Front, Mr. Chiroma, has been saying that he won the election, we've not seen a straightforward statement from any of the political leaders, including those who took part in the presidential race. Nobody has come out to say, Mr. President, we heard the SDF say we have return reports. Cabral Libi of the Cameroon Party for National Reconciliation, they have been saying that they have the return reports that came from the police station. But they have neither published the return reports to say if they approve of the victory of Issa Chiroma or President Paul Biya. None of them have made a clear-cut statement on the issue. And we saw some of them at the swearing-in ceremony of the President of the Republic, including O.C. Joshua, Cabral Libi,
and the rest.
So, where is your stand in all of this?
I watch everything from the beginning. I campaigned to about 30 villages and towns in Cameroon with my ally, Sesh Espamotomba. I covered a large part of this country. I come from a digital system where I deal with computer, I deal with softwares, I develop some in my company. And we have data collection system softwares we call efficient. So efficient is for information. It looks for where information can be found in a way, using telephone numbers and using other things. The victory of Issa Chiroma was not something that I will have to announce that he has won or he has not. If he has already also provided us with his data, elementary data, live online, we could have counter-checked it with our own data that we have. But it will not be me that will declare him as a winner. It will be him that he declares as a winner and say, look at what I claim that I've won. Then a leader like myself with the highest software systems in the country will then say, checking with what I've got, I think that this gentleman is saying the right thing. And then we will call for unity, and we call for remorse. We will call for the leader of the CPDM to drop down their political weapons and then join the winner. But unfortunately, on both sides, they have not figured out exactly who has won and who has not won to convince the entire public. So the public becomes divided. But myself, I don't mind. I've called the president of Cameroon and the CPDM to create an inclusive dialogue, an inclusive government of the 12 political party leaders that participated in the presidential elections and run this country for 1 year. If they love the people of Cameroon, they love the children of Cameroon, they love the suffering that it should be wiped away and the tears of Cameroonians should be wiped away, they should create a national sovereign dialogue amongst them.
No, a lot of things have happened for the past days since the election protest started after the official proclamation of results of the October 12 presidential election. Destruction has been recorded in different parts of the country. People have been killed, people have been injured, businesses destroyed, and so on. When you look at all of these do you fear the situation could degenerate could get into a chaotic kind of situation should Issa Chiroma Bakari continue fighting for what he calls his stolen victory?
Of course, I am reasonable. I will have to fear the economy, fear the affection of children, fear their health, fear the deprivation of education, fear their social security, fear so many things about the vulnerable people. And then also afraid about women and other class of people that might need support and help from the government. And those that feeding will drop, these square meals a day will drop, supply chains will be disrupted. So these are determinant factors for a regime and for a country. But so we don't know what they plan to do, but we are very much fearful that this might skyrocket. But also remember, the President Paul Biya has always disputed elections throughout his 7 years or 7 terms in office. In 1992, there was a dispute and there was a lot of lockdowns, a lot of protests, a lot of burning. I used to live in Saudi by then, and I was just a child, and we were running, going under the bed, and soldiers were passing through our houses, beating, torturing, arresting. But that was 1992, presidential. 1997, it was the same thing. Then one elections have passed by tranquil, but then now we came back with 2011. It was the same thing with Kamto. Then now we've come 2018, same thing with Maurice Kamto. Now 2025, same thing with Chiroma. So they're now making Cameroonians to be having a habit that the elections are always disputed and that they must be protested every after elections. We want them to keep this tradition, to make things very transparent, to make government departments very neutral, especially the governing bodies, to be very, very neutral when it comes to public satisfaction and public choices like elections. They should make it very neutral. They should take their hands off, create ombudsman, which are arbitrating bodies that can regulate regulators. It means there must be a body that regulates ELECAM that is perfectly neutral. There must be another person who regulates another person, so that things should be very tranquil and straightforward. But in Cameroon, they are centralized, and they've created Cameroon in a way that only the strongest man feeds. The weak man is doomed to die. And why should it be so? And that's why everybody is streaming into the government. Everybody is pushing their way into the government. And now when they're pushing their way, it becomes egocentric eccentricity. People so selfish enough, wanting to feed fat, having no idea in business, having no other job except just working in government. So that even if they are retired, they are even fearful to retire because they have no other source of income. That name, that protection, that intimidation, that they are intimidating others, they are afraid to withdraw from those positions. So Cameroon is a place you can write 1 million page of documents. It will not be enough. But you can carry on asking any question and I'll be ready to answer.
Right. Some Cameroonians think that the way forward will be for the President of the Republic to step aside and give way to change after 4 decades in power. Do you think that can be
I have said an inclusive government with 12 candidates that were in the presidentials, including him.
Right. So
they will rule for 1 year, then they recall an election. So we announce the election, learn this so that candidates and voters should get to know each other sufficiently.
Right. I want you to elaborate a little more on that. But before that, let's talk about national dialogue, because you're calling for a national dialogue for an inclusive government to be put in place for peace, accountability, and progress. Let's start with national dialogue. This is something that normally provokes some kind of ill feelings within many Cameroonians who feel that the major national dialogue that was organized to solve the Anglophone problem and other problems within the nation was a failure, was a fiasco, was a monologue that did not produce the expected result, and that's why the crisis is still raging till today. And now you're talking about a national dialogue. Tell us more about the content of this
sovereign national dialogue,
right,
which means it restores also our sovereignty. It's not a normal national dialogue we used to have, which means that we will give the topics of the dialogue in time. the days, what subject are they talking about, who is in the dialogue, how the outcome that we expect, so that people expect that outcome before the dialogue, and that this dialogue, the outcome, whatever comes, is that we're going to create a government of the people of Cameroon, and that's what we are holding this dialogue for. Or unless the end of the dialogue is ending up that we are going to be successfully creating a government of the people of Cameroon, which is very inclusive with any stakeholder in politics in this country. And this will take place and run this country for 1 year. After 1 year, an election will be held. Every political party will go back to his camp and campaign over a period of reasonable time. And then there will be a winner that Cameroonians love and they know him correctly. Then that is the end of the dialogue we want to hold. We cannot hold a dialogue where we don't know what we want to achieve from the dialogue, where we can argue and it ends in pieces, and we claim that we were in a dialogue. We don't want such dialogue. We want a dialogue with an agenda. Day 1, we are talking this. Day 2, we are talking this. Day 3, we are doing this. Day 4 is we're making sure that we conclude. Unless otherwise there's no conclusion, we go to day 5. The conclusion will be that there must be a unity government of Cameroon, which is sovereign and inclusive. And this government will be including political parties that have stake in this country. And it will run for 4 months, that's 1 year. And thereafter, elections will be announced in ample time, where people can go back to their camps and campaign and let the people know them, and let them know the people. And so that transparency should prevail. During the dialogue, the structure of Eleka, why did it change from Honor to Eleka? What did Honor do wrong? Because this is where we expect that some things are going wrong and Cameroonians are not knowing. Just sitting down and taking a pen and write Honor and then coming back and closing it after elections have been failed and then coming up with Eleka. What will happen that Eleka will not dissolve tomorrow? So those are things that I critically look. And that's why I tell Cameroonians they are lucky enough to have me. Cameroon is still very lucky enough and proud people to have me. And I'm so proud to have them too. And I know they will be listening and they'll be hitting their chest somewhere. There is a Cameroon political party leader that works for them. I don't only work for elections, I'm working for them throughout, and I'm sweating for them. And I'm going forth and back for them. So right. That is why I made it.
One of the problems that give the major national dialogue a negative, a failed connotation was at the level of the participants, because it was seen like a monologue or a discussion between friends, even though there were people like late John Frundi, and of course people like Christian Cardinal Tomi and other persons who took part in that dialogue. So this one you're proposing now, sovereign national dialogue, are you saying that you will bring on board everybody, including people like Issa Chiruma Bakari, who are saying, I won the election, or he won the election and his victory was stolen, and he's bent on fighting for that victory, including all the leaders who are in detention, for example, Anise Kane of the African Movement for New Independence, Jacob Chamini, and Fabrice Lena, Professor Abao, are you saying that this dialogue should bring on board all of these persons?
Of course, you need to bring everybody together. You need to forget who won, who never won. The results are out in a way that is always been out. The results have come out in a way of 1992, in a way of 1997, in a way of 2018. So we got several elections that have been coming out through that way, and it carries on. We strike, we protest, but this one should make an end. The president is now going to be making 50 years, half a century in power. The only president in the whole planet since...
By the end of this current mandate.
Yes, it's 50 years. So it's making us 23 plus 50, that makes 73 years for true leadership. So I tell you now that this is strange. You know, very strong people in the planet that existed. Nebuchadnezzar never had 50 years. You know that. So 50 years in power is half a century. Tough leaders, even enemies to their people. Nebuchadnezzar never had 50 years. 50 years. Hammurabi, who brought even laws from the God of the Sun, never had 50 years. Hamlet Kabaka never had 50 years. Saddam Hussein never had 50 years. Genghis Khan never had 50 years. And I can carry on counting. King Solomon, who was good, never had 50 years. King David never had 50 years. King Saul never had 50 years. What comes that we have 50 years leader in this country? But that's not a problem. It's not my problem. It can be special. But how we benefited? Even if we have to benefit something, it would have been cheaper times than any country in the world to prove that God really sent him to come and help us. But why is it that we go to the road, which was our ancestral road, we levy a toll gate? Is that achievement? It is not a new road that you've cleared so that it's quicker to go to Douala, or to Bafasam, or to Bamenda. There is the same old road our ancestors founded for us.
Old and dilapidated.
Then they levy a toll gate in the name of success. Can you account for that? So there are so many terrible things that they've been doing, terrible things. But we are watching, and we are only taking them. We know they have the fork and knife, and to make life in their own way, and to extinguish life in their own way. But we are taking them that we are with good faith. They sign us a document that we have the right to practice politics. And I'm just doing what I said. I never told them when I signed on the political party that I'll be destroying Cameroon. I told them that I'll be building Cameroon alongside wherever they failed. I will support, and wherever we failed, they will chip in. And that were the policies for founding a political party in the country. How come is that now when we want to chip in, then we become wanted?
Let's look at the feasibility of what you're saying. Yeah. When we look at the fragmented nature of the opposition today, I'm talking about the opposition because we've actually seen over the years that it is very difficult for the opposition leaders to come together in a common front because of differences in terms of ideology, in terms of even the purpose of them being in politics and so on. So how feasible is it? How is it going to happen for these leaders to come together and come to that dialogue that you're talking about and get to that point of an inclusive government?
There is a problem with Cameroon politics in one thing. The government is centralized. The government has made itself more lucrative than the private sector. And in any other dynamics, the government is the poorest, a government worker should be the poorest person, which is the civil servant. In some developed countries, they try to motivate disabled people to work in the government, doing accounts, typing in figures in the computer, so that they can live and enjoy as well. But here you find somebody who has become either a barrister or a lawyer, who is not even satisfied with what he did in school, but then wants to become minister or president or anything. So this is the only country where, because the government have made it that it is only the public sector that is lucrative. The authority is in their hands. The life to beat the life to kill, the right to beat the right to kill is in their hands. To even disturb somebody doing his thing, the taxes, everything is in their hands. So everything is now flowing into the private sector. And now, what happens with political parties? They're flogging in there to protect themselves. They are poor. The majority of us have not founded a business for themselves to eat and live and do well in their life in order that they should genuinely support Cameroon in politics. So they have come the narrow way, that it is a way we will have a job. The government is good at bribing. I might speak some strong words and they will bribe me. So that is what they are looking for. I might say something and I will be special. People are looking for
politics of the stomach.
Politics of the stomach. Some are making family names to protect their children. Say, I will be the son of FOLIGAR land. So when he is not available, the next person will be afraid of my children and be giving them jobs. Some are looking for so many things, and they have not done anything. The ministers in this country, they are afraid to resign, but they know what they've been doing, and if they've been doing so bad, they know that being a civilian who has nothing to do in government, you are facing torturing. You can just be driving down to Douala, the police stops you and asks you identity. Why are they asking identity? It's to know who you are. If you give an identity and say, minister, will they ask you anything? They will just say, go. But if you say, chop pusher, commissan, they say, the son, come down. Your identity card is not right. So the fear of being a civilian in Cameroon is growing. That is why everybody is flogging into the government to get protection and to get food to eat in the table. And that's why the country is corrupted. You understand? The country is corrupted because of that. Genuine political party leaders are not arising because they themselves have no way to eat in their houses. They themselves are afraid to stay in the country like that. So to protect themselves or to get something to eat is to go to the narrow way, which is politics. And then Now the government has put an injunction on the way. You are allowed to function, but you're not allowed to operate. You can function as a politician, but you say something, a minister appointed by the government will pick up a political party leader and lock him up. Have you ever seen anywhere an appointee will take somebody who is looking forward for people to vote and trust him to come to the helm of a country, and the minister locks him up? Listen to me very carefully. If there's anything you don't understand in the logic, I will keep on explaining. That is what is happening in this country. So they have centralized the arms of the government. They have centralized that people should grow towards the public sector instead of empowering the private sector, so that more employment should happen, more jobs should be available, more education that is quality, more training to Cameroonians. They're doing training. That's why the Department of Government Transparency needs to fall into the hands of the Cameroon Reformation Party, and we give the oxygen to our people the way they deserve. Because
so with what you're saying now,
yeah.
Is it going to be possible to bring all these leaders to the same table, to the dialogue table, to form an inclusive government, a government of national unity, so to speak? Is it going to be possible, considering the fact that, as you have said, there are some who are playing games, who are doing business in politics. There are some who are into some kind of unholy marriages with the regime, and
that is why
doing some unorthodox things.
That's why we call it sovereign.
Is it going to be possible?
That's why we call it sovereign dialogue. Looking forward to who has been doing what since the party was created. What activity are you actually doing? How do you participate? What elections? Then they invite, those are the people we bring in as stakeholders. We're putting them down and watching them, and we're talking in a room as a dialogue. It's not a whole country that will come. Leaders that have stake in this country should sit down with the president sitting in place and giving him the option.
And not the representative.
Not the representative. And giving him the option that this is our country, we've been fighting, all of us. Chiroma, you've been fighting me. You've been saying that you won elections, and you know you never won. I want to tell you that we're going to form a regime with you in place. And we're forming with all of you, 12 candidates. You become ministers, prime ministers, all of you. And we're sharing this idea and having meetings together for 1 year and polish this country out.
But why should he tell Chiroma that you know that he never won? Should he not say that I know that I did not win? Let's try to arrange it.
No, we're now going in the path that for the past 1992, 1997, 2018, and so on, there has been dispute 4 times in this country about elections. So there have been crises about the elections. So we're giving him now the benefit of doubt. Right. He has been successful in these 4 times. So, and he's always been successful, and there's always post-electoral violence, but he will still win. Let him sit with his children, call them to his place, sit with them and talk to them, and let this country go ahead.
That is the element of progress in your proposal.
Yes.
And that's something that seems to be rare in Cameroon today. Progress,
yes,
at individual levels, at collective levels, at the national level. For the past decades, analysts will prove to you with facts that Cameroon has been regressing, Cameroon has been moving backward in terms of human rights, in terms of development, in terms of standard of living, and in terms of too many things: poverty reduction, education, and almost all the sectors. Now, how can we make this happen? How can we make this happen in a context of peace and accountability, as you're proposing?
Accountability is the basis of politics. There's never politics with no accountability. The only regime in the world that doesn't want accountability in politics is Cameroon. Even the Burmese junta, the military junta in Burma, was giving accounts to their people. This is the only country that doesn't give account. Many public sectors are not functional in Cameroon. The tourist industry is the most dominant industry, with about a staggering 15,000 job opportunities in the tourist industry. From Maroua, Kuseri, right down to Fowa, the opportunities, Kribi, Limbe, Donga Mountain, all those, Kope Manigoba, lots of tourist opportunity. Have you ever seen a white man come to this country? The place is filthy. They don't want to go to filthy places. Mosquitoes are diseases, are insects of dirtiness. And we house more than trillions and trillions and trillions of mosquitoes because we live in our environment dirty. People are not coming in because they are afraid of those insects. They are the highest killing than HIV. So we are not cleaning up the places. Those are sectors that are so dormant. Environment is dormant in this country. They're only focusing on forestry. They're not focusing on tidiness. Hygiene is not working, and food quality. So we created a department for food quality, but not in our shadow cabinet. Minister of Food Quality and Standards we created, because we expecting the thousands and thousands of jobs from tourists to flock into this country. All these small girls and boys, all these young people, they need to work, and there's lots of possibilities for them to work. But I don't know why they don't want to do it. So I'm just synoptically speaking because there's a lot in my head to tell you, and I know that we will be cut off with time at some point. But look now in the Cameroon Reformation Party, we are saying now that a child in Cameroon, because you cannot force peace, you need to implement, but you can apply it slowly. You cannot enforce to bring about lasting solutions for things. In our regime that we have in our party policy and manifesto, a child of 12 years below will be free medical services. Just imagine, a child in this country, the country is so blessed, so they have to go free medical services from 12 years. Just imagine a child 12 years below, free education. Just imagine. Every Cameroonian is entitled to see a doctor when they meet, which means that we're making Cameroon Health Bureau. That is giving for peace. Just imagine, giving for peace, Cameroon Health Bureau. Now, doctors will have bikes or autos that they go into suburbs and meet up where people have gathered that need to see doctors for some reason or the other. So everybody is entitled to see a doctor. Even you go into Way Village, you stood there at the junction, and people that are ill that day will come and meet the doctor, and they will be centralized computer for prescriptions immediately.
Bringing health closer to the people.
Yes. Is that not giving out in the name of peace? Is that a tolerance to your people? Why is it that it's only decrees that mastermind the death of a Cameroonian that they are giving? Signing only decrees that mastermind the traits of death or life for a Cameroonian. Why, for the past 42 years, there's never been a document signed that in this country there will be a Cameroon child, 12 years and below, that will be having entitlement of free education and medical health. Any hospital that is held by the government, you need to go there with the child and will treat the child for free. Is that not giving for peace? Why, for 42 years, there have never been women and children included in our list? Why, for 42 years, I'm saying that me, as a seeker of dialogue in this country, I propose to the government that a child in Cameroon will be going to school and having one meal a day, not coming back from school hungry, and I'm driving past and seeing my children desperately with heavy bags on their back, struggling to walk, coming back for 8 hours without food, having a small tiny bread in their bag given by mom and dad. Why would they not do in the name of peace?
The symbolism of the swearing-in ceremony of the re-elected or newly elected president is threefold. One, the first symbolism is that it is a Republican ritual to hail the values of the Republic, to demonstrate that the Republic is the Republic of the people, by the people, for the people, and that the president is a president who is a Republican president, is the president of the people, elected by the people, and the fact that he has to move from his office, the office of president, to come to the house of the people, in this case the parliament. Again, the symbolism in that is that as a president of the Republic, voted by the Republic, upon assumption of office, has to, according to the Constitution, I think it's Article 6 or Article 7, and the Electoral Code, I think it's Article 140, has to, within 15 days of being proclaimed president by the Constitutional Council in our case, or within 15 days of the result being officially announced, but in our case, only the Constitutional Council does the official announcement or proclamation of results, the president within 15 days, who is elected or re-elected, has to leave his office and go to meet the people who elected him through their representatives in parliament, in the parliament house, in our case, in the National Assembly, and swear to the people, or swear in the presence of the members of the National Assembly, who are the direct representatives of the people, in the presence of the other constituted court, the Senate, the Supreme Court, the Constitutional Council, ECAM, and others all coming, and in the presence of others like you and I, traditional leaders, civil society, military leaders, and the diplomatic corps, that he who has been elected by the people first thanks the people and is conscious and is swearing before the people that in the spirit of the republic, he will do what the republic wants. The president believes in a Cameroon of togetherness, a Cameroon of all people, a Cameroon of us working together, a Cameroon of national concord, a Cameroon of rallying Cameroon. He himself used the word that this is the moment in that speech. This is the moment, meaning the moment of the swearing-in ceremony, the moment of the election and the result. This is the moment for us, the sons and daughters of Cameroon, to come together and work together in a living together, in a national concord, so that together we can make the Cameroon a shining city on the hill. So he's open to the other Cameroonians, no matter whether they took number 2 or number 10 or number 12 in the election, to come and work with him, because that is the Cameroon in his ideology, in his political vision. He told us in his speech yesterday that, I know your problems, I know your frustrations. And that means the president has heard the message of Cameroonians. That's a leader who tells you that I'm yours, I'm one of yours, I listen to you, I know your problems. And following that statement, the president announced, shall we say, or gave signs as to where he wants to go. But before he gave those signs, he did make that statement, I know what our problems are. I know what your problems are. That's a leader of conscience, of candor. That's a leader of conscience. That's a statement of conscience. I know what your problem is. I know your frustration. It means I've heard you, I've seen you, I empathize with you, I have compassion for you. You should see that not everybody does that, but he did it. And following that statement, he started now enumerating. Not only did he say, as he had said earlier, I'm paying attention to the young people of Cameroon and the women, and he started naming. He has allowed young people to continue with their PhD programs. He has announced direct recruitment now. These are recruitments now into ENS and NSET. And that he's putting in place a youth employment promotion plan that is going to take place. And he did end up by saying that he is going to, as far as his priority areas in terms of his public policies are concerned, he enumerated them. He said water, I think he said energy, he said roads, he said health, for those who are creating the irresponsible behavior of carrying out hate speech and manipulating others, especially young people, to carry out violence and destruction. He considered this irresponsible because it is against our constitution.
Before we wrap up this conversation, many of the opposition politicians like you are holding firm to their positions and trying to do some kind of illegal business, so to speak, with the regime under the table. But they will not come out publicly. They will not accept that they can be part of this inclusive government that you're talking about, that they can join the regime, because many, of course, will see that as betrayal. But you are standing out to say you are ready to be part of an inclusive government, to move this country forward. Why do you think that this is the way to go?
First of all, remember when the election came out, they gave only 2-3 months. 2-3 months. And then the voters, the people of Cameroon, never knew their candidates that much. Because 2-3 months was short to go around 10 regions and with so many 200 something divisions and sub-districts and all those places, villages, towns. So they get shot. So they handpicked through Elekam and Minat those type of candidates that are suitable to come in. They knew people like myself. We saw standing on behalf of Cameroonians, and we should not be able to come around that area. So that's why some of them are slaying behind, trying to do some cat and mouse logic politics, not standing and speaking publicly on behalf of Cameroonians, because the candidacy was handpicked in a logical manner. And that is why I carefully did a give and take with such as Matomba to see that I could speak a bit more on Cameroonians. I made 30 villages and towns to just see that I tried my best. But how many villages did other people make? How many? Who gave them the 30 million? Where are they working? Can they prove where it came from?
So my question is, why are you on that position of availability to join a unity government?
I have not even pronounced myself being unavailable. I'm fighting for those that were 12 of them to struggle that the regime should make it mandatory that 12 of them, because there's dispute after the election, let 12 of them run this country at the same time to make us be in peace and to make our children be safe and to make Cameroon be a better place and then recall an election after 1 year. It's been 4 times we're getting dispute after elections. So let's try to make this session that makes our president 50 years in power, make it special that at least 12 of those candidates should come together in a sovereign dialogue and agree a government that is made up of 12 of them for 1 year, and then after the 1 year, they call an election, all other political parties and somebody transparent should win. That is the most. If I am going to be inclusive of them, and I want to work in a unity government, it's only one position that I can accept: Department of Government Transparency. I'm not talking to as CONAC. I'm talking a Department of Government Transparency. Even private sector will be monitored. There are many of them. Look at MTN. They're scraping money out of children. People selling bitter color on the road, and you're putting data on your phone that shows that you will be using it for 1 week, you use it for 1 hour, it's finished. And nobody is helping them to sort that out. You're selling just the actor in the street, you put £100 to money and talk to your mom, it's gone. Who arbitrates them? Who makes sure that that money is used for what exactly is being transferred? Look at MTN and Orange. You transfer money, they say charges. Then when you transfer the charge, you want to pick it up the other side, you pay charges again. Who controls that charges have been paid? So that is why I need to come in with a very, very massive spider's eye to look around 360 degrees and help this government to move further. I know they want this country to go better, but I want it to go more better than further than anybody else. And so look at companies that are selling fish. Why will you give one company to sell fish in the whole country? If this person sells fish and he by error got wrong fish and everybody is buying from them, how many million people will be affected, will die? We need to get competition in the market and give quality, and so that people should have choices. That's not all. There are so many of them. The banks, who regulates them, and who has ever taken money back from the bank because there was an error in his account? When an error is happening, it's gone. Why would I not be in the Department of Government Transparency to wipe out tears of suffering people that have no other future except just stick to a leadership that says that they are the chosen one, and nothing chosen is showing. If something chosen was showing, I will go down to my knees and surrender my hands and say something chosen is showing. Some spiritual force is touching this nation through this regime, and look at strange good things happening to our people. 12 years old are now eating in school. 12 years old are now having free medical services. 12 years old are now having free education. And then women and children are now protected more than ever. And then good decrees are coming out, not treating anybody, not grinding anybody in a machine. Just saying terrible things. So why will you not? And that's why I stand here on my own, and I want to advise all other political party leaders in Cameroon to come out genuinely, follow the terms of registering a political party in a country, and then stick to the policies of it, and work on the benefit of the people, the thing that they've promised. They want to come back and look after them. And I want to call the attention of the President of Cameroon, Paul Biya, that it is me, the President of the Cameroon Reformation Party, speaking and begging him with tears flowing in my heart that it is time for him to call an inclusive sovereign dialogue with the 12 political candidates that were participating in the 12th October 2025 elections, to sit and dialogue with him and form a very nice, inclusive government that will run for 12 months, and then hold an election in ample reasonable time, and then let somebody really nice win the election and run this country. Let the love for Cameroon come from the heart of Cameroonians. Let the love not be imposed onto Cameroonians, and let peace not be imposed, but peace should be applied nicely with certain parameters that brings about the dignity of the country.
That niceness seems to be what is lacking. We heard the President of the Republic saying, order must reign.
I know, because
whether you're happy or you're angry, order must reign.
The vision is not there. The imagination is not there. None of the things that people can see tomorrow on behalf of children is not there. The history of the country is not there. If the history of the country is there, you see people disturbing, striking, killing, kidnapping. In your country, you are the president. It's about a solution, and that's why if he claims to be the leader of the country and won the election, it means the people are telling him that bring and give peace a chance so that we can live well.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the insights you've shared with us today.